All right, welcome everyone to our April 2025 AUCHU Homeschool Virtual Mastermind meeting. And today we're going to be talking about report cards and transcripts and grading and that type of conversation. We got a lot of people coming in. That's beautiful. It wasn't the original planned conversation, but since the deadline for transcripts is in May and report card deadline is in June, I figure, we really need to give attention to this conversation, okay? So as I go through the project, it's not a formal presentation, um, so it won't be like our past workshops. I'm not going to have a slide and all of that. But if you have questions, put it into the chat box, um, and I'll get to them throughout the meeting, okay? So first of all, let's talk about report cards. Let me give you this explanation. Under option 3, South Carolina option 3 law, there's no requirement of completing a report card. There's no requirement of assessing with grades. You're not required to do that under option 3 at all. Okay. Um, Grades and keeping track of those kind of grades become important when the student starts taking high school courses. So while option 3 law does not say anything about a transcript has to be completed either, we understand that the transcript is what matters when a homeschooler is graduating, not a diploma or anything like that, but the transcript. So then we understand that you have to have grades and courses documented once the student is starting to take high school courses. But up until then, you do not have to do report cards, okay? Now, I do have many members who still like to have a report card, and these are the reasons they would want to have a report card. One, they're just used to give kids grades. While in homeschool, that's if you don't have to. I always encourage families just focus on helping your child to love learning in those younger years. Don't assess with grade. Just let them become better at what they're doing. If they don't understand it, go back to it. Grade is not necessary. But some families are used to the idea of grading their children and getting report cards. And then two, some families they pretty much know that maybe homeschool is going to be a temporary journey and that eventually their child will go on to public school, and public school is going to ask for a report card to see. And so that's why families will do a report card. So those are the main kind of two reasons that I have families who still give grades and report cards. To do it or not to do it is not important. It's up to you as a home educator. And then the next thing is that also as the home educator, you have all the freedom to create a report card yourself. I don't have to do it. We don't have to do it at the association. I provide that service. It already is included in your membership fee. There's no additional fee for completing the report card. All right. So let's dive into report cards. Report cards are for students who are kindergarten through 8th grade. And I say 8th grade, depending on when your student starts taking high school courses, which could start as early as 6th grade. But if they're taking high school courses starting their 7th grade year and their 8th grade year, then you have an option to choose. Do you want to do a report card or just go ahead and start their transcripts? All right. And you may say the transcript, okay, starting a transcript for my 7th grader or 8th grader, but they're doing both, lower level courses and high school courses. What should I do? So if your 7th or 8th grader is taking high school courses and they're taking 7th and 8th grade courses, no problem. We can start the transcript, put the high school courses on there, and then we can also have the report card. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. Okay. So we can do the transcript with the high school courses on it, and also list their 7th or 8th grade courses too. Both can be there. But what we'll be calculating is the high school courses will be calculated with the GPA. All right. With that being said, if your student is 7th or 8th grade, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, and they're taking high school courses, any high school courses they take in those grade levels will automatically become honors. That is a South Carolina Department of Education thing that we fall under. Okay. All right. So let me also give this caveat. While we're homeschooling under option 3, a lot of the things we don't have to follow as far as South Carolina Department of Education is concerned, but but there are things that we will fall under or we will follow as far as the South Carolina Department of Education, just because it gives us some framework. Because we don't have a framework to follow under option 3. So then we would just follow under South Carolina Department of Education things, okay? But as a home educator, when we're talking about report cards for students kindergarten to 8th grade, you have the freedom to create your own report card. You have your freedom to, sorry, later. Okay. You have your freedom to assess what grade you would give your child. We all homeschool differently. We all see things that's more important than others differently. And a grade that you may give to your child based on whatever rubric you create may be different from all the other of us who are there. Bye. Okay. All right. And so you have the freedom also to choose any additional courses you want to be teaching your child and have them on the report card. We know that by law, we have to do math, science, social studies, reading, and writing. We know by law we have to teach those within the schooling year, in your individual homeschooling year. But you may also include other things like carpentry for your younger student. They may be learning a language at that younger age. They may be doing PE or tap dance or piano or anything like that. That can be added onto the report card. And you're assessed with a grade. Trying to think. I think the most neatest one I saw was carpentry. One of the young students, he goes to work with his dad. His dad is a carpenter. He's helping him build a shed or something. So his mom added that to his report card for a grade. Okay. So you have the freedom to do that. Now, if I am going to be completing your report card, again, as I mentioned, there's no additional charge to do that. You don't have to, but if you have me complete your child's report card, then you just complete the report card form, okay? All of you should have gotten the email about it in regards to report card deadline being June 15th. If you're not going to finish your school year, your schooling before June 15th, for report cards, it's no problem. You just turn it in whenever you have finished your schooling. So if you don't finish until August, September, October for this 24-25 schooling year, and then you submit the report card form, fine, submit it at that time, and I will complete it when I can. When I can. After that deadline of June 15th, then I start working on memberships and all that kind of stuff. But it will be done, but it may not be done quickly. Can't mute somebody right quick. Can't find who the talker is. All right, so I think everybody's muted now. All right, so that's report cards. On the transcript, on the report card form, what you would need to have prepared is, one, what are the courses they took? You get to title that, okay? If I have questions, I'll come back to you and ask you. Some people will say, for example, math grade level. If the child is a 3rd grader, they may have math 3rd grade. And then they may have language or ELA 3rd grade. They may have science 3rd grade. Maybe they have math, their students 3rd grade, but they have math 5th grade or whatever that is. So you just indicate the course and the letter grade, okay? Normally, you don't worry about a number grade until they're about seventh grade. You can do number grade, or you can continue to do letter grades if they've only, as a seventh and eighth grader, only have taken just seventh and eighth grade courses. Letters are fine. Okay. You indicate the course on the form. You're going to indicate the letter grade on the form. And then you also have to indicate the attendance for each month. So if you started your homeschooling year, here are the two scenarios. Whether you start your homeschooling year, um, say you started it in September, your child never went to public school, you started your school year in September, and then you finished in April. So then I need to know how many days did you homeschool in September? How many days did you homeschool in October, November, each month? So that information will be asked for on the report card form. Now, if your student did some time in public school and the rest of their time in homeschool, then, and you don't know that breakdown for when they were in public school, how many days in public school was in September or August, September, October, then that's fine. I would just put NA, NA, NA. But you should hopefully know, okay, if your child has done any days in public school, you should know that the child at least did 100 days in public school before you started homeschooling. Okay. You should have some idea, even if it's not point on perfect the number, but you should know I have 82 days they did in public school, because then you need to know how many more days you have to do in homeschool to finish out that 180-day requirement that's required for your homeschool year. Does that make sense? You have to have 180 days in your schooling year. So if your child has been in public school, you need to have known how many days or roundabout how many days did they complete in public school. So then you know how many more days did you have to complete to finish out your homeschool year. Okay. So that would be what's on the actual report card form. I need to know each month. And then I'm going to assume, and specifically if the grades are good, I'm going to assume that the child is being promoted to the next grade level. On the report card, if they're third grader, then once I put all that information in, on the bottom, it would say promoted to fourth grade. Okay. And then this is the one other thing I will tell you, and then we'll ask if you have questions. I give you time for asking questions regarding report cards. You as the home educator also have the freedom to ascertain if your child can skip a grade. They've done third grade, they understand all that material, they will sleep doing the material. And so you even started into fourth grade and they know all of that. So now you're saying we're just going to move right into fifth grade, our next homeschooling year. You have the freedom to make that decision. You don't have to get approval from me to do that. You are the home educator, you are the principal, and you're the guidance counselor. So you are empowered to make that decision. Okay. Will you skip your child from kindergarten to second grade? I did that with my third child. She went from kindergarten. We worked on her, she was 4 years old. Now she's 25 this year, you all. But when we started at 4, she finished kindergarten, first grade, and started into second grade, all in that 4 to 5 year time frame. And so when we came back to the next year, I went on and put her in second grade. So she technically went from kindergarten right into second grade, just in her second year of homeschool. Does that make sense? Now, if you have questions about any of that, any questions, you can unmute yourself before we head on into transcripts. If I said something that wasn't clear, anything that you're wondering about, go ahead and unmute yourself. Or you can type it in chat. No questions?
Hey, Angela, it's been a minute.
Oh yeah,
Hope
hi
you're doing
Raquel.
well.
Yes, I'm doing better. I am healing, so I'm getting better.
Awesome. I know we've had this conversation before, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around everything with my daughter who will be approaching my oldest that's approaching 10th grade.
Okay.
So for you, like at what point do I start giving you like her high school level courses? Like she's taken some high school level courses when she was like in 8th grade, and I've been writing them down, but I don't think that I've officially done anything with you to get the transcript started if we utilize that service. So could we wait? Is there a time period that we need to, or deadline we need to meet before we start the process of a transcript? Um, that's the first question. And the
Okay.
second question is kind of related to transcripts, but it's more so related to co-op. So our family is in a co-op, and there are classes that are kind of deemed 5th grade level, 6th grade level. There was a point in time where my son wanted to to stay like in a 5th grade level class because of what they were doing, and he was quote unquote bridging up to the next grade.
Okay.
So when I asked the director about it, she said, "Well, no, because I have to do reporting, and if you keep him in this 5th grade level class, if your family returns next year, he's going to have to stay with the 5th graders." And I was trying to wrap my head around. I was like, I've never heard anything like that, because
Hmm.
I thought that you could choose, like you just said, what grade they wanted to be in. So there
Yeah.
were some classes. He's paired with a grade, quote unquote, that's younger than where he is on my register. So how do I pivot with that?
Okay. All right. So for the first question, whenever we start the transcript for your high school, which we're going to go into transcript conversations right after this, unless there are more questions about report cards. Whenever you're ready to start the transcript, we can start it. Okay. And then at that time, you can provide any high school courses that she may have taken in her middle school year, 7th grade, 8th grade year. Just submit that information. Again, you would need to know what course that was, and the number grade is needed for the transcript. And if she took any high school courses during her 6th, 7th, or 8th grade years, they automatically would become honors courses. Um, that's something that Department of Education, South Carolina Department of Education has set up already. So we will fall under that criteria. Okay. So anytime you're ready to do that. Now, for shall I go into this conversation? Okay, I'll hold on. Let me go ahead and do this before I forget. Starting the transcript sooner than later, especially starting 9th grade and then 10th grade, sooner than later is always ideal, because we're now by 9th grade, we are now calculating their GPA, and we're calculating their ranking. They're doing their ranking at 9th grade, but it's very important on their 10th grade year, the rank. Ranking is important because then they begin to qualify for scholarships for the Palmetto Fellows, which is the big scholarship of this state. And if they have a certain GPA and they have a certain rank, being one or two, ranked one or two in their class, then that puts them in a good position for scholarships. Okay. 9th grade, not so big of a deal. It's good to have, but by the time they're 10th grade, you definitely want to have that transcript going. It's good to have it done with the association. If have it done, have your transcript calculated and ranking complete with the association. If the student is, I'll say, academically strong and they want to be in a competitive position for going to college, or even community colleges or university. So because again, ranking, if you do it yourself, which is fine, and you can, um, you don't have a ranking specifically that you can put on there. All right, but doing it with the association, they'll be ranked with all the other students who are in this association, who are 10th graders, 11th graders, 12th graders, that type of thing. Okay, so that will be the question. I think I answered your question for for your 10th grader. Okay, great. Thanks for the thumbs up. Now, with your son, you know, the tricky thing about that, Rashonda and everybody, is that when you're doing your schooling in your home, it's your domain and you can follow your own rules that you set up for yourself in your home. But when you step into an organization or an entity and they have their rules set up, then you got to follow, decide it. Am I going to follow that rule or do I just want to stay on my own? So if they're saying that in their organization that he has to stay with fifth graders doing fifth grade work for the sake of their paperwork and things like that, then you have to follow what they have in place. But if you're at home and you're schooling them, then you do get to choose like, yeah, this is fifth grade. You're going to do some fifth grade, you're going to do some sixth grade, and you're going to do some eighth grade work. It is very, very, very normal for homeschoolers to have their kids in all different grade levels all over. And that will be reflected on their transcripts oftentimes. Okay, even on their report cards. My child is doing all these different grade levels because that's every child is different. We're used to being in public school where they just keep them in a box, or like this organization you mentioned, Rashawn, they keep them all in a box. You're a fifth grader, so you can all do fifth grade stuff, and that's it. Even if you are reading on an eighth grade level, however you determine that, I'm still going to keep you in a fifth grade box. Now, however, with that being said, you're in that organization and they're saying that you have to stay within that fifth grade box with your son. But when it comes to his report card, um, if you can ascertain that he's doing another grade level of work beyond that, or you've done, what's the word? You supplemented at home to move him up from a fifth grade to sixth grade level or seventh grade level, then that's your decision. Also on the report card, you just report that accordingly. Okay. I don't know if I answered that question. Did I answer? Okay, thumbs up, answer the question. Okay, great. Thanks, Rashonda. So here's another question here. So if our last day would be after transcript turn in, what should I do? Our last day should technically be June 6th. Also, we need to add the classes we messed up submitting last year. I just add those as classes at the bottom, right? Also, we need to add the classes we messed up submitting last year. I just add those as classes at the bottom, right? Let me make sure I understand that. Also, we started using an online curriculum this year. Do I need to keep detailed lesson copies at home? All of their work is done online on the Academy's app. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and transition. No, any other questions about report card before I go ahead and transition into transcripts? Any other report card questions? Okay, if you do, we can come back to it at the end. All right, so let's go ahead and transition into transcripts and I'll answer your question, Gina. Okay, hold on here. To clarify, the only thing required for option 3 in South Carolina is attendance. The attendance is tracked on the AUCHU forms. Okay, okay. To clarify, the only thing required for option 3 in South Carolina is attendance. No. So under option 3, if you talk about record keeping, let's go through the option 3 law really quick. Let me just say this for the sake of recording. It'll take just a few moments. 1, you have to be the parent or legal guardian. 2, as a parent or legal guardian, you have to have a GED, high school diploma, or higher. 3, you have to join an option 3 accountability association. 4, once you do that and you're approved, you have to agree to homeschool for 180 days in your school year. It doesn't matter when you start, when you end, you just have to complete 180 days within a calendar year. If you start your schooling year in June, for example, I have some families that's just starting, so maybe they're starting in June 2025. You have until June 2026 to complete 180 days. So that can look like maybe you're only in school 4 days a week. Maybe you school for 4 weeks on and then take a week off. Maybe you take 2 months off in December and January. It doesn't matter. We don't count sick days in that 180 days. It's only 180 days of schooling, okay? So 180 days is required. 5, you have to school in the 5 main subjects: math, science, social studies, reading, and writing. When they're 7th to 12th grade, you have the reading and writing changes to literature and composition. Okay. 6. The 6th number has 4 parts to it, which is all record keeping. Now, so this is where one of the things is attendance, but I want to get to what are those 4 record keeping things that you must do under option 3. There's 4 record keeping things you have to be doing. 1, maintaining a daily journal of work done and activities involved in. 2, you have to complete a biannual progress report. The biannual progress report is just you indicating how well the student is doing in each subject. And if they're doing well, then what will you do? We'll keep moving forward. We'll skip to the next grade level. We'll skip whatever the case may be. If they're not doing so well and have some challenges, indicate the challenges and what will you do? We'll review that. We'll repeat it. We'll get a tutor. We'll use another resource. Okay. It says biannual, which is twice a year. You can do it anytime, twice a year. I tell you all to do it once you reach 90 days and once you reach 180 days, because that's just easy numbers to reach, to remember. 90 days, you did it. We're halfway through the school year, 180 days at the end of the year. If the first part of the year was in public school, you don't have to worry about doing a report, your biannual report then. But if you're at the end, you did the second quarter, then yes, once you reach 180 days, complete that biannual progress report. Okay. Number 3, you have to be maintaining a portfolio. A portfolio is taking excerpts of their best work from each subject and keeping it in a manila folder, a 3-ring binder, or an envelope. If you're doing online classes and it's not easy to get those nice resources that show their best work, then reference it. What is this? What's the date? April 17, 2025, math quiz, 100% all correct. Then if someone wants to see it, you can pull that up online, hopefully, and let them see how well that was done. If you can take a picture of it or something, print it, so you can put it into that portfolio, that would be great. Okay. So that's a portfolio. So if you're ever audited or you ever go back to public school or go to public school and they want to see some work of what this child has been doing, here's the portfolio. This is going to show their best work throughout the year from each subject. That's the purpose. And then the 4th thing is attendance. Okay, you should maintain attendance. So just to clarify, attendance is not the only thing that you have to do under option 3. The 4 reportings that I just gave and the 5 subjects: math, science, social studies, reading and writing. 7th to 8th grade, the reading and writing changes to literature and composition. And this is what I'm going to say about that. The law doesn't say you have to do all of those subjects every day. It just says that it has to be done within that 180 days. So maybe you're only focused on science 1 whole month out of the year and you're done with science. Or maybe you focus on social studies for half the semester and science the other half of the semester. However you do those subjects is up to you. You just got to touch on them, teach them within that 180-day frame. You do not have to teach all 5 subjects every day. The law does not say that. Okay. So hopefully that clarified. Give me a thumbs up, Nagaya, if I brought clarity to your question. Thumbs up, or come in and say, yes, that helped, or.
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, great. Great, great, great. Okay. So let's now transition into transcripts. Okay. Understand transcript. We can
Oh, I have
begin
one more. Can I answer one more question?
about the report part. Go ahead.
Yeah, so all the reporting is I know we keep the daily journal, but the biannual progress reports, is that done through your forms?
The progress report. I can provide a progress report that you can look at as a sample that gives you an idea of what to do, but I don't have an actual form for you to complete. I have authored the journals, the the option 3 homeschool journals where you can do all this record keeping in there. And I have forms in there in which you can use to complete your progress report, or you just get a piece of paper and you just write down what I kind of told you. You write the student's name, you want to write what grade level they are that particular year you're doing this report. Is this the first semester for this report? What else? The dates for this report and the membership year, 24 to 25. So that should be on the progress report. And then you just write what I just said, how well the student is doing in each subject, or if there's any challenges they have in each subject, you write that out, and then what will you do?
Okay, so that's just something that we keep. We're not turning it into somebody. I
Right.
came from a state where I had to turn all that stuff into the superintendent's
Yes.
office, so I'm just trying to clarify.
That's good. No, good question. So yeah, all of that record keeping, all of those record keeping I just mentioned, those 4 parts that's on the option 3 law, it says the parent or legal guardian shall maintain. So you don't turn it
Okay,
into me. I don't require to see it at all. I'm going to
okay,
keep telling you and remind you it's on your membership package. I'll do videos and things and tell you that it's, you have to do this record keeping. I'll send out reminders from time to time. Then it's up to you to maintain that paperwork. Okay. If you're ever audited, what would that look like? DSS has stepped in. The child is now going back to school, or whatever, and they want to see this paperwork and you don't have it. I can't support you. I can't help you because, this is paperwork that you have to keep year to year. The law doesn't say how long you have to keep it. I say about 3 to 4 years is good. For me personally, I kept all their paperwork until they graduated. I'm not doing that with the younger 4, but the older 4, I did. They didn't want to keep it. It was more memorabilia for me than them. So when they graduated, I tossed all that beautiful kindergarten learning how to write paperwork out. It just broke my heart. They were like, Mom, just throw it away. So the law doesn't say how long you have to keep that record keeping, but a 3 to 4 year window is pretty good if you don't want to accumulate stuff. Okay. All right. Any more questions about report cards? We're going to go ahead and transition to transcript. All right. Okay. So for transcripts are generally started or can be started whenever your child, I was saying student and child together, your child begins high school courses. Okay. Whenever they begin that, we can start there. It's up to you if you want to wait until they're actually high school level. And then you can pass on those high school courses they may have completed in their 7th and 8th grade year. Okay. All right. Transcript is very, very important. Very important. And it's very important that we get it right from year to year to year. Unless we didn't get something right, then like Gina said, they messed up on something last year. As long as we get it finally correct by the time they're 12th grade and ready to graduate. Because once I put the word final on their transcript, I cannot go back. When you remember, oh, 9th grade, I forgot to put up there. They did chorus with the co-op. I can't go back and change it once I put final. Okay. All right. So transcripts is important specifically for graduation. Our homeschoolers all over the state, homeschoolers in general, do not receive a diploma, a certified state diploma, right? When students graduate from high school and the public school, they get a certified diploma from the state. You don't receive that. But what's going to be important is that transcript completed. If your student is in their 12th grade and they're about to be done, but they don't have a completed transcript, trust me, they're not ready to graduate. Okay. Transcript is what matters. When they go off to college, when they go to community college, and some jobs they may take, and military for sure, they're going to ask for the transcript. They're not going to ask for a diploma. Okay, because homeschoolers do not get any kind of certified diploma. Now we give our kids diplomas, which are memorabilia, but it's not going to be state certified. The transcripts, okay? With that, families, you can complete your own child's transcript, okay? More and more colleges over the past years have only been wanting to get transcripts from a homeschool association because we are an entity. They feel like it's going to be a lot more legit than if a parent completes it, but you can complete it, okay? The other thing is the transcript. I have students at just this year alone. I've had about 3 or 4 students who graduated in 2016, 2015, 2014 have come back to me and say, I'm now going to college and I need to have a copy of my transcript. And I say, this is one sad case. I'm like, your mom never completed a transcript for you. I don't have it. What does that child do? Well, the parent can quickly create something if they remember the grades and courses and hope that the college will accept it. But the college may say, nope, we need it from your association. So transcripts are very important, whether they're going to college or not. It's just good to have it completed. Okay. Now, for the transcripts, again, as I mentioned before, 7th and 8th grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students who take any high school courses, they automatically become honors level. What's the big deal about that? Big deal is that honors level course versus just a regular high school course, or we also call it college prep course, has a different weight. If it's honors, then I'm going to guess this. I don't know it by heart. But if the honors is, say it's 100% an A honors, it's going to be worth 5.0 versus if it's a college, just a high school course, it's going 100, which is an A, would be a 4.0. Okay, 5.0 versus 4.0. And I think if it's dual enrollment, then it's even higher. So oftentimes you'll see homeschoolers with high GPAs. It's because they've taken honors courses and dual enrollment courses, and their GPA is like 5.8, 5.9. You wonder, how did they do that? It's because South Carolina has instituted these high GPAs depending on what category of course it was, whether it was a college prep or whether it was honors or whether it was dual enrollment or AP. Dual enrollment AP, the GPA is higher, weighted higher. Okay. All right, great. Now, when you are preparing to complete your transcript form, okay, for the association, again, this is part of your membership fee. It's nothing additional for that, but you do have to complete the form. The deadline is May 31st. Some families may not be finished their schoolwork by May 31st, which is Gina's question here. They won't get done until June 6th. So what do? You got 2 options. Let me see. Well, you have 3 options, but let me give you the first option is assess where you are by March 31st. Okay. If you're more than 80% done the course by May 31st, stop, assess a grade for what they've completed, submit it on the transcript form, and be done. And then if you want to continue to complete the courses up until June 6th, which is a technical end date, this is for Gina specifically, then you can do that. Or you can say by May 31st, whatever we get done, we're going to be done. That's the first option. The second option is go past the May 31st deadline date, okay? Go past that, submit your transcript form whenever you get done, but just know that going beyond the May 31st date, I will not be able to rank the student with the other students in the association that's in that grade level with them. I can't rank them. I'm going to have my ranking form. I'm going to get all the transcript forms by May 31st at 12:59. Okay, 12:59. That would be on May 31st. That would be the last time out, and then I would close the transcript form. I would calculate that I would literally be gone from the world for about 3 days. Yeah, because I try and get it done 3 days. Sometimes no sleep, blah, blah, blah. I'm calculating transcripts, emailing them to you all for review, and you're sending them back to me. By June 5th, transcripts are all done, completed, calculated, and I have now completed my ranking form for the Commissioner of Higher Education. I complete that ranking form for Commissioner of Higher Education is because students who are 11th or 12th grade who qualify for Palmetto Fellows, I have to get that ranking form to the Commissioner of Higher Education so that they can be then considered for Palmetto Fellows. So that's the main reason why I had those dates, because Palmetto Fellows, Commissioner of Higher Education, they set a hard date, although they just changed it. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. So that's why I had that hard fixed date of May 31st. Okay. So you can go beyond that May 31st deadline, and I will get to your child's transcript probably after I'm done report cards. So the report card deadline is June 15th. So I will look at your transcript after that date. Okay. All right. So do we put the date on the form, the 31st? I think we have to put an end date on there. Well, it asks start and end date of our 180 days. Okay, so that is two separate things. So on the attendance card, okay, on the attendance card, it will ask you when was your start date for the first semester, for example. It'll say, when did you start your school year? And you'll say, you know, July 11th. And then it'll ask you, when did you end your first quarter? And then you'll say October 30th. Then it'll ask you, when did you start your first day of your second semester or your 91st day of school? I think that's the wording. And then you're say you started January 20th. And then it'll ask you, when did you reach your 180th day? And then you're say April 14th, for an example. So that's the attendance form where you have to give those two dates or those dates. On the transcript form, I don't ask for dates. I will ask you for the child's birthday. I will ask you for the student's graduation date. And those are the only dates I will ask for in the transcript form. I will put in the day I calculated the transcript and the day I submitted it to you. Okay. All right. Does that make sense, Gina? Okay, perfect. I can remember. Thank you. You got it. Okay. Okay, so transcript, what you will need for it. You need to have the course name. You need to have, you need to tell me, is this a college prep level, honors, dual enrollment, or AP? Okay, let's break that down. College prep is just your regular high school course. If the course is honors, you can't just say it's honors. I need to see a syllabus. On the form, it will also say this. If it's an honors course, you have to submit a syllabus to me, an honors syllabus that shows what did you require of the student to do that was over and above just the basic college prep information that they study. What does that look like? Okay. So say they did study biology and you have a biology book or a biology online course, whatever it was, just a basic biology course, high school level. And you say, oh, we're going to make that an honors course. Okay. Then you also, thank you. Then you will have to indicate what work did you require the student to do over and above that biology high school course? Maybe you had them do projects. What was the project? Maybe you had them do biology camps. Maybe they studied, like for my daughter, one year when she was doing biology, she had to do a double essay. She chose a subject which happened to be light. She did a subject on light. So it was a double essay, if you're familiar with that. We were doing IEW at the time. And so the fact that I made her write this double essay and her subject matter was light, she had to cite it. She had to give all of her, well, that's citing it, all her sources. She had to cite it perfectly. That was part of what we learned connected to our English. I made that a biology honors because I made her do that report over and above that. I think she also did a project. Now my daughter's 29 this year, but I think she also had to do a project with that too. Okay. So any courses that you want to make honors, you have to submit a syllabus, honor syllabus to me. The syllabus have to tell me what was just the high school level information that they studied, and then what did you do to make it honors? I have to approve it. What had happened in the past is that, and it's still happening, but now I have it structured in such a way that it's not questionable anymore. But colleges were questioning honors. They wanted to see and know what made this chemistry honors. What did you do? So instead of you saying it was honors and just submitting it to the college is what I was allowing you to do, and then don't have any proof of what it made honors or the validity of the honors work. Was it truly honors? And the college said, nope, we can't take this as honors. This was not honors. I will look at it, assess it, and say, yes, what you had this student do was truly honors. Okay, and it's fine. So I'll approve it. And then on the transcript, I will indicate honors based on the fact that I have approved your syllabus. Okay, all right, so honors. College prep, honors, if it was AP course. And let's break this down because this is always a question. AP, families want to use AP. AP is only courses that are written and approved by the college board. It's a certified course that makes it AP. And right now, I can't remember what AP means unless someone can remember. You can type it in the chat, but I don't remember. But it's like a college level course that high school students take. And if they can take the AP course and get it titled AP. But if they take the AP test for that course, now they earn college credit for that course. It's now officially an AP college completed course. Okay. Just as a side note, any AP courses you are interested in your child taking, they can take those at your local high. Thank you, advanced placement. That's exactly right. Thank you. They can take any AP courses in public school. Your child does not have to be a public school student to take public school AP classes. They don't have to be. So you can't just teach a biology class at home and tell me that it's AP. I would say, oh, was this taught by an AP certified teacher? I will ask these three questions. Was it taught by an AP certified teacher? Was it taught, was it an AP certified course, meaning it was done by, given by the college board? And three, did they pass that AP course? Okay, because if they don't pass it, then we can't consider it AP. We just have to consider it college prep. Okay, those are the three questions I will ask. So I have families every year who will put AP or honors, just put it there. But I will ask you those questions specifically. Okay, and then the fourth category, so we got college prep, honors, AP, and then the fourth criteria option would be dual enrollment. Dual enrollment means that your student took a course with a college as a high school student. Dual enrollment means that they are getting a grade as a high school student, and their grade will go towards their college um, transcript. They're getting two different grades, one on their college transcript, and the other grade will go onto their high school transcript, and it will be categorized as dual enrollment. As a side note to that, dual enrollment classes can be taken by any grade level if they do it online. So I have some families who their students are 13, 14, taking dual enrollment classes, online courses with a college that accepts students that young. Otherwise, dual enrollment, where the student goes onto the campus, can only start when the student is 16. So that's usually their 11th grade year. So use your 11th grade year, they can start taking dual enrollment classes. In their 12th grade year, they only allow their students to take two classes, two college classes a semester. So in 1 year, you only get four college, I won't say four college credits, but four courses taken on at a college on their high school transcripts. How do you get more? I have families who do this, and I'm always blown away. And these are always the families who have many children, and all of their children end up getting Palmetto Fellows. They have their students take the courses at a local college. When they're 16 and they're 17, and they're taking online college courses. Okay, they're taking online college courses. So then that helps their GPA to get higher. And that's how, and then they're ranked usually one or two of the class that they're in. Okay. All right. That was a whole lot. So 4, I'm looking for you to either indicate the course was college prep, the course is honors, the course is dual enrollment, or the course is AP. All right. This is specifically for those students who are 9th to 12th grade. Okay. Any questions with any of that information? Let me take a sip. No questions with that information. Okay. All right. So on the transcript again, you're going to indicate the course, a numerical grade. Do not give me a letter grade. I can't calculate a GPA with a letter grade, so it has to be a numerical grade. You have to indicate, was this 1 credit, half a credit, or a quarter credit, or whatever the case may be. If it's 1 full credit, great. That means they completed the course. If it was, and generally completing a course is about 120 hours of study, generally. If they only took a course like PE and they only did it 1 day a week, technically, if they did it 1 day a week for the whole school year, maybe we're looking at, 90 hours. That would be a half a credit. Okay. So think about what the work that they did, or whatever the case may be. Was this a full credit, at least 120 hours of study, or 90 hours of study? Half of 120, 60 hours of study, or quarter credit, 30 hours of study. Okay. Those are the 3 things I need to know. Type of course, how many credit, numerical grade, and the course name for, okay? Now, for homeschoolers, everything that we do, for me, I consider a subject. They're learning how to cook, they're learning how to clean, they have chores, all of that. We put all of that together under home economics. That's an elective. If they are working on computers on the side, and whatever the case may be, I knew a high school student. He was phenomenal back in the day. And he could work on your computer and clean it up and set all these things. And I would take my computer to him several times in the year, and for whatever reason, he could fix my computer problem. He was just a high school student. Of course, his mom gave him a credit and a grade for doing that job on the side, how to work on computers. So if your child is doing painting, if your child is doing anything, carpentry, my daughter got an elective for face painting. She spent hours and hours doing all this intricate, gruesome, amazing face painting. I gave her credit for that. Um, and she started an Instagram page and blah, blah, blah. Another thing people don't think about, what if your child is a YouTuber? And this particular child I'm talking about, she loved this show. I can't remember what the show was. And she started an Instagram page and she got up to like 500,000 people on this Instagram page from all over the world loving this show. I can't remember what it was. I gave her credit for that. That's a lot of work and time that she did. I can't remember what I called it, but a lot of time of putting all that stuff on Instagram, finding the clips, cutting the clips, responding to people, talking about. I gave her whole credit for that. So think about all the things that your student is doing that they're doing well and investing a lot of time in, even if it's gaming. They're investing a lot of time in whatever that is, the part of their life. Consider give them, would that count as computer science? Which one for my daughter with the Instagram? I don't think I put it as, yeah, I didn't put it under computer science. I'm sure I didn't do that. It was an elective, but I can't remember what I titled it. She's she's 21 this year, July. So it's been a while, but I can't remember. It wasn't computer science though. Usually for us, computer science is either computer programming and typing. That's kind of computer science I tend to do with the kids. I might have had one who did something different and it was a computer science, but okay. All right. So really think, and again, my oldest, who's now 29 this year, she graduated with 51, 52 credits. She did because everything in life became, it was a subject, a study. And I just added it to their transcript. I think she was the only one that had that many. She was my first child. I was really like, come on, you're going to do this. We're going to do great. I gave her so much information. All right, so that's that. Now let's talk about the 12th grade year. Unless you have more questions, you can unmute yourself, ask the question, or type it in the chat box. I'm going to talk about this 12th grade year stuff, and then we'll be done. Mine like to make music and songs. The other want to create costumes. Can I use those? Absolutely. You just have to figure out how much time are they putting into composing music or designing and creating their costumes. Is it a full credit, at least 120 hours, or half credit? You just have to decide that. You assess the grade. How do you assess a grade on that creativity? Is it pretty awesome to you? Is it great? Give them 100%. If there's some places that still learn and become better on that, then grade them accordingly. Music and songwriting, maybe they're at 90%. A lot of the electives where we did, I talked with them and we decided the grade because it's very subjective. So we decided the grade that they felt, yes, this is a good grade for what I felt like I did. So, that was a conversation I could have with them. But yes, everything, everything. If they're doing violin lessons, my kids played violin for years. How many hours of that? Tons of hours. I can't even tell you. So every year they got a grade and a full credit for violin, ballet. Um, the other ones got half credit. Half. One did our step, my son. The other one did tap, half credit. But the ones who did violin and ballet, hours and hours of practice and study, and programs and the Nutcracker, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all of that counted. Okay. Yeah. So 12th grade, by the time your student is a 12th grader and are ready to graduate, we want to make sure that transcript is squeaky clean. All right. You're going to go over and look at the past year's brainstorm. Was there anything missing? I will be able to see, do you have 4 Englishes? Uh, Again, we fall under the South Carolina Department of Education requirements, and I would suggest you need to have 4 Englishes. Why? Because colleges will want to see 4 Englishes, that you have 3 maths, 3 sciences, or yeah, 3 maths, 3 sciences, 3 social studies, 7 electives, a fine arts, a computer science, and now South Carolina has added in a mandatory personal finance, okay? as a requirement for all students. So those things I will say, all right, you are, and 24 credits is the number that's good to see, at least 24. If you have 23, I'll say, let's think of an elective. I'm sure there's an elective that they've done to get this child up to 24 credits. So at least 24 credits for graduating is ideal. Okay. And those courses, if you want a form, I can send you the form that allows you to break down. We have 3 Englishes, we got 1 more to go. We have 2 social studies, we got 1 more to go. So you can keep track of that yourself. But on the transcript, I have it broken into those categories. Okay. English, science, social studies, math, fine arts, computer science, electives, and PE, excuse me, and I forgot PE. All right, at least 1 credit of PE looks great. So by the 12th grade year, we want to see, I want to make sure that you have all those things in place. As we go through each year, at least the 11th grade year, let me say, I'll start saying, all right, your child doesn't have a PE credit yet, health credit yet. You want to make sure that's in place. Or you only have, whatever the case may be, I will point that out to you by 11th grade year. So going into their 12th grade year, you won't have any like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that we only got 2 sciences? They're about to graduate. So we won't have that panic happen. I've had that happen. Um, or after the fact, they're graduated and then they say, I found their whatever. And I'm like, I can't add it to their transcript. I can't. Once I'm done at 12th grade and I put final, it's official because now it's gone into Commissioner of Higher Education. If I were to go and change that transcript and that GPA in some fluke way it found out that happened, they would come and I could be in big trouble. That has happened to one association and it was a big headache for that dear lady. This was at least a decade ago. So, but 12th grade, you want to make sure all the courses are in place. The GPA looks, I'm gonna say not GPA looks good, but they have enough credits is the main thing, and all the courses that's required are taken and completed. Okay. All right. Any questions? I think that's everything. Um, let me say this too, as far as the graduation date. Each time you complete the transcript form, it's going to ask you for the graduation date. Just know that the graduation date can change. It is not unlikely that they supposed to graduate in 4 years, but hey, that child is like, I am so done with school, I'm ready to be done. And you say, okay, we can wrap this up in 3 years. Let's get it done, buddy. And then they graduate a year sooner and the graduation date changes. And that's absolutely fine. And it happens. Okay. So you don't have to be in a panic that we got to get it done in 4 years. You could get it done in 3 years. You can get it done in 2.5 years. Um, go to a college style teaching where in a college they complete 1 year in 1 semester. So complete 1 homeschool high school year in 1 semester, and then go to your next semester and complete a year. So it can be done sooner. Um, and if you want more ideas about graduating your child sooner, you can ask that question too. We can talk about that. Okay. So wow, we have gone definitely into an hour on this subject. But any questions, any clarifications, anything I said that makes sense, or you need to hear me repeat it again, let me know. You can unmute yourself or you can type it into the chat. The last thing I will mention while someone is maybe preparing with their question. Okay, great, Gina. Awesome. Any families who are still monthly pay students, monthly pay members, excuse me, and your by April, all membership fees should be completed. Okay, should be satisfied by April 30th. All membership fees should be completed. I keep saying completed, satisfied. If you have an outstanding balance when it's time to do transcript or report card, I can't complete it. And that's why I moved it to all fees have to be done in April. In the past, I would have families still not finished with their membership fee. I complete their transcript and report card, and in good faith believe that they would, finish out their membership fees, and they don't. But they have their completed transcript and report card. Well, that's just not fair. Okay. So just know that if you have a balance, I won't complete their transcript or report card until the balance is satisfied. Okay. Some families do monthly pay because I give that an option for some families as they need it. So if you're full pay, you've already paid, this is not applicable to you. Okay. All right. If there are no more questions, then we'll be done. I said a mouthful.
Hi, Angela.
Yes. Hi.
I'm at Landeric Chambers, but my name is actually Tori. And
Okay.
I did email you about this. This is not on the topic of report cards, but I'm hoping you won't mind me asking. I have a first grader with you right now. I'm sorry, in the homeschool right now, and I'd asked you about state assessments. You did let me know that they are not required,
Yep.
but I guess I'm just wondering if you have a suggestion, if I would list, I just would like to have her assessed uh,
Okay.
to see where she is, you know,
Okay.
where she would be compared to children who are attending
Mm-hmm.
public or even private schools, if I wanted to have that done.
Okay. I just put it in the chat. These are two that I know of are most popular. One is the California Achievement Test. Parents can purchase this test. I used to do this at the beginning when my kids, we were new at homeschooling. I wanted to see if they were on schedule. And then I realized, dang, they are way over grade level requirement. And I stopped doing the tests. But California Achievement Test, just Google it. Now they've gotten a little savvy. Now the child can take the test online, or you can find some places that, like I said, you can purchase the test, do the test at home with the child, and then when you're done, you send the test booklet and the paper, the answer key sheet back to them, and they will grade it, that type of thing. The Stanford test is another one that's a more certified testing. You again Google Stanford testing maybe for your area. It has to be a Stanford test certified instructor, meaning they've been trained and they have to have a college degree to administer the Stanford test. It's a little bit, I don't know, I can't say. I was gonna say it's a little bit more stringent than the California Achievement Test, but that's not true. I really don't know. I never did the Stanford test. I just know it has to be given and administered by someone with with a college degree and have been trained for Stanford testing. So those are the two. If anyone knows any other ones, put that in the chat. But those are the two I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I'm sorry if I didn't respond back to your message. Maybe you just sent it to me within
No,
a
you
day.
absolutely did. You did, and it's just that as time passed, I just realized I wanted to revisit the topic, and I think I might
Okay.
be overthinking it. But just as you were
Okay.
mentioning before, how you can kind of set your own pace, you can determine whether your child is ready to quote unquote skip a grade. I'm just trying to figure out how I would gauge, yeah, how I would gauge that. And so I was thinking maybe standardized testing or at least comparing against where she would be in the school system might help me
Yeah.
determine
Yeah.
how ready
Sad.
she is for certain things. I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, and sadly, and I tell families all the time, if you want to see what level your student is and you're in South Carolina, Google the states that has the highest ranked academic report card, which the last I remember
I've
was
actually
Mass.
heard you say that on a YouTube video.
Yeah, yeah. Go to
Yeah.
Massachusetts, go to Virginia, go to Google that and find out. Don't compare it with what South Carolina requires, honestly, because South Carolina is ranked number 40 and 50, 49 and 50. They change each year between Mississippi and South Carolina. They teeter-totter. One year is 49, next year they're 50. So, and the fact, honestly, you all, that South Carolina, um, how do I say this? They embellish their GPA. Anyway, let me just say this. Don't use South Carolina as a measuring stick. Meaning, don't go to the Department of Education to see what does kindergartners know or what does first graders need to know. No, you're going to be putting your student lower on the academic poll. Go to one of these higher states that's ranking high and see what their kids have to know and can compare it. You can usually pull that paperwork right off of the Department of Education for any state. So it's Virginia Department of Education, Massachusetts Department of Education, New Jersey Department of Education, whatever the state may be, and look and see what their students are required to know. When I first started homeschooling, we were in Virginia, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, well, let me see what the Virginia Department of Education has their students to do. And I literally taught my first one, which I told you she's now 29, and my second one, he's now 27 this year. She's 29, he'll be 27. And I literally went through and said, okay, kindergartens need to, I didn't even have curriculum, but I knew kindergarten stuff. I mean, we were broke back then. And I was pregnant with number 3, but we were broke, married, and happy. But and I literally was able to print out that information and say kindergartners have to know this, and so let's learn this, and they had to learn this and this and this, and I taught them all of this stuff off of that sheet. And I did that for the first year of kindergarten, and I was able to do it to the first grade, and then having 2 children, it just became too much, and then I was able to save up and afford curriculum, and I started with Rebecca and my beginning journey. So testing, you were in Fairfax, Virginia, standards as a basis. Yeah, Virginia was pretty high, and their academic requirement was challenging enough, but not overbearing. But again, my kids always blew that stuff out of the water because we started learning when they're 2 and 3. You know, I'm teaching them numbers, teaching them the alphabets. So when we get ready to do that, official school, then they're ready to read and add and multiply and this kind of thing. So that's what I would tell you, Tori. Look at another state and
Yes,
just,
thank you. I'll do that because
yeah,
like I said, I remember hearing you say that on a video that maybe it was a couple years old,
yeah,
and I tried to keep that in mind, and it's been in the recesses of my mind. So you just now brought it back to my memory. So I'll do that.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay. All right, so Easy Peasy has a level testing on their site as well. Yes, Easy Peasy does, and even that from years ago. Um, so, yep. Okay, so if that's everything, I'll send out the recording and you all can look at this again, share it with others. You're welcome, Rashonda, for the refresher. I talk this stuff all the time, year after year, oftentimes month after month, so I know it in my sleep. I'm totally on record and play, or just play on play, play, play. But you all who'd only hear about this by the end of the year is kind of all new. So even if we talk about it again, I'm totally okay with repeating it. I've heard of Easy Peasy a lot. Thanks for the tip. Yes. All right. Well, you all have a great rest of your evening. May 31st, deadline, June 15th, deadline. Going beyond those dates just means, okay, let me say it again. May 31st, deadline for transcripts. June 15th, deadline for report cards, submitting the forms. If you go beyond those dates for report cards, it just means I'll get to it later. You know, sometime in June, July, August. If you go beyond that for a transcript, it just means that I will get to your student's transcript, but they won't be ranked. It will have a GPA. Ranking will say NA, okay? Because there's no ranking, but they will have a GPA calculated. All right? Okay. All right. You all have a great rest of the evening. Happy homeschooling. Bye-bye.